In Colossians chapter 2, Paul is warning the Colossians to stay grounded in Christ, not just in name, but in faith and understanding. He knew division was coming, not only from outside of the church, but also from within. He tells them not to get caught up in human philosophy, debates about what's real or not, or teachings that sound deep but ultimately pull you away from the truth of who Jesus is. What Paul wanted them to remember is the same thing we need to remember now. Jesus isn't just a piece of God or a messenger from God. He is God in all his fullness. I'm always amazed at how timeless the Bible is, though. How could Paul write something that still speaks so directly to what we're dealing with right now? The answer is simple. Paul didn't know, but God did. In verse 9, Paul says it plainly. In him, the whole fullness of deity dwells bodily. In other words, Jesus is the physical form of the living God, not a representative, not just a prophet, but fully God in human flesh. That concept used to confuse me until I heard it explained like this. God came in bodily form because we couldn't handle his full glory. Think about it. When Moses brought the Israelites to the mountain where God's presence rested, they couldn't even bear the sound of his voice. They begged him to stop speaking, or they feared they would die. Throughout the Old Testament, God interacted with people, but if you pay close attention, his approach kept shifting. Sometimes it was through fire, clouds, other times through dreams, angels, or his spirit. It's like he kept adjusting how he appeared, not because he was changing, but because we couldn't handle the fullness of who he is. And then he sent Jesus, not a downgrade, not a substitute, but God in a form we could draw near to, touch, hear, and follow. He met us where we were so we could begin to understand who he's always been. And the more we come to know Jesus, the more we realize God wasn't trying to stay hidden. He was making himself known in the only way he knew we could survive it. So when you pray, when you read his words, when you sit with him, you're not connecting with a lesser version of God. You're drawing near to the fullness of God, who came close on purpose. So if he's really fully God and still chose to come near, then following him with your whole life isn't too much to ask, because he made himself accessible when he could have stayed distant.